Hello dear students, welcome to Chinmoyee's biology channel. So this is the nervous system part 2 for 7th biology ICSE. So in the previous episode part 1, I've already discussed about the types of nerves, synapse, stimulus, response and as well as the structure of the neuron in detail with label diagram. So please go through that lesson first so that it will be easier for you to learn this lesson, that is the second part of nervous system. So let's get started without further delay. So what are we going to learn in today's episode? So by the end of this lesson, we will already know the few things, that is nervous system in humans in details. We will know the central nervous system, that is the brain and the spinal cord. This part we will know, and this peripheral nervous system and autonomic nervous system is not in your portions, but I'll be giving you a gist idea about the peripheral nervous system and autonomic nervous system. So let's go through these all things today, and I'll be back with another episode where I'll be completing this nervous system full. So if you want to know more regarding this lesson, dear students, you need to subscribe to my channel. You need to pay more attention to the lessons which I am teaching in a systematic manner with notes, with detailed diagrams, and you need to share this channel with your friends also so that they can also get the benefit of studying from my videos. So please do subscribe so that you can get the notification of whatever I am posting as per your ICSE curriculum. So let's get started with today's episode of nervous system part 2. Now first, what are the three different types of nervous system or parts of nervous system? That is central nervous system, peripheral nervous system and autonomic nervous system. So first we will put a stress on this central nervous system. Now, what is the central nervous system consisting of? The central nervous system consists of the brain and the spinal cord. So, two important parts of the nervous system. The brain and the spinal cord are the parts of central nervous system. So, what is its role? Its role is that it is the controlling center and it is controlling all the body functions. And it is also the site of information processing of the body. So it is processing all the information which is received from the body. So it is the site of information processing of the body. Now it is responsible for processing every sensation and thought of a human being. So if any damage or any problem happens in central nervous system, what is happening? It is unable to process all the informations. It is unable to feel the sensation or thought a human being should have, or the human experience. So it is rather affecting a information processing delay or information processing problem in a human being. So every sensation or thought of a person comes from the central nervous system. So here we are going to discuss about the brain. So where is the brain located? The brain is located in the cranium of the skull. So its general weight is about 1200 gram to 1400 gram in adult and about 2% of the body weight. Now, what are the main functions of the brain? That we will learn in details when we are reading the different parts of the brain from the next slide. So, the main functions of the brain are thinking, feeling, movement and senses. Okay. So, if there is any problem in brain, your thinking, your feeling, your movement, your senses all will be affected. Now, the brain is enveloped by three membranes. These are called the meninges. Okay, so these are the new terms you are adapting or you are learning. So, it is enveloped by three membranes called meninges, and the membranes have a fluid between them that is called the cerebrospinal fluid or CSF. Okay, you can, in short, you can also say CSF, but you should know the term that inside these membranes there is cerebrospinal fluid or CSF. Now, CSF, what is it doing? CSF is nourishing the brain and protecting it from shocks by absorbing them. So if there is a certain shock on the brain, it will absorb the shock and it will not allow the shock to enter the brain and rupture its part. So it is having an absorbing, we can say that it is having a property of absorbing the shock and protecting the brain from shocks. So here you can see this brain structure. This is the cerebrum. So we can say that this part is the major part of the brain. That is, we will be reading in details these three parts of the brain from the next slide. So cerebrum, this is the uppermost part of the brain. This full is the uppermost part of the brain is the cerebrum. Then here it's located is the cerebellum. Okay, so this cerebellum is located just behind the cerebrum and it is above the medulla oblongata. So this is the medulla oblongata. So cerebellum is above the medulla oblongata. and it is below the cerebrum. Okay, location wise, and medulla oblongata is always the lowest part of the brain, and it is anterior to the cerebellum. Okay, so this is the brain stem, this is the pons. These are the hypothalamus, pituitary, and all. This is the thalamus. These you will be studying in 9th and 10th standard. That it is for the higher classes. For this, your scope is to just go through it, and if in case questions are coming, you should understand, and you should have to reply those, give the answers of those questions, right? So this is the forebrain, this is the midbrain, and this one is the hindbrain. Okay, and these are the ventricles of the brain. Is it clear? This is the corpus callosum. Just see the labeling. This is the corpus callosum. This is cerebrum, forebrain, midbrain, and hindbrain. This is the hypothalamus and pituitary. This is pons. This is medulla. So what we have studied in this one, it is weighing 1200 grams to 1400 grams. It is having meninges or 3 membranes. Membranes have cerebrospinal fluid, which is protecting it from absorbing the shocks and all. Okay. So let us move on to the 3 different parts of the brain now. Now, of the 3 main regions of the brain, the first one comes the cerebrum. So what is cerebrum? Now in the next slide we will be seeing the diagram. Now let us discuss what is cerebrum. This is the uppermost and the largest and the most important part of the brain, and it is occupying the major part of the brain, the cerebrum. It fills most of the skull, and other parts of the brain like the cerebellum, the medulla oblongata and all, they are a smaller part of the brain. So the main part of the brain is the cerebrum, and it is highly convoluted in appearance with ridges and grooves. So it is having many twists and turns, many ridges and grooves. So what are the functions of these ridges and grooves? They increase the surface area, and they try to accommodate more nerve cells within that area. So they are increasing the surface area, and they are accommodating a large number of nerve cells within that region only. So there are a huge number of ridges and grooves. Okay, so the right and the left cerebral hemispheres are with deep furrow in between. So there is a deep furrow in between the right and the left cerebral hemisphere. So another mention should be made here, that is the left half of the cerebrum, it controls the right half of the body. So what is it doing? So the left half of the cerebrum, it is controlling the right half of the body. So it controls the right part of the body. Okay, so right part of the body is being controlled by the left half of the cerebrum, and whereas the right half of the cerebrum, it controls the left part of the body. So this is how the cerebrum it's working. So the opposite side is controlling the opposite part, and the pain, temperature, touch, sight, sound, taste and smell, all are being controlled by the cerebrum. It controls the mental activities such as memory, intelligence, thinking and reasoning also. So it is a very vital part of the brain. It is consisting of the majority part filling most of the skull. It is the prominent part of the brain, and it is controlling certain mental activities like memory, intelligence, thinking, reasoning and all. Okay. Now comes the cerebellum. The cerebellum, it is egg-shaped lobe, and it is located at the base of the cerebrum. It does not have any convolutions. It is a very straight cut part. It is not having any convolutions, but it has many furrows. Now what is the main important part of cerebellum? So cerebrum was having all the important functions it is helping in the sensation of pain, temperature, touch, sight, sound, taste, smell. All the main parts are controlled by the cerebrum. So cerebellum, what is it doing? It is mainly acting as it is helping the muscle coordination and balance of the body. So this is the main function of cerebellum. So next comes the medulla oblongata. So the lowermost part of the brain located at the base of the skull is the medulla oblongata. So this is located at the base of the skull. It is the medulla oblongata, and it is like the stem of the brain. Okay, it is like the stem of the brain. It is emerging out from the base of the brain and is continued as the spinal cord in the posterior region. So it is the lowermost part of the brain, and it is located at the base of the skull. It is like the stem of the brain. So it is acting as a stem of the brain, and it is emerging out from the base of the brain and is continued in the spinal cord. What are the main functions of medulla oblongata? It is controlling breathing, heartbeat, coughing, sneezing and other involuntary functions. So it is controlling your breathing, your heart rate, your coughing, sneezing, and also these are the main functions of medulla oblongata. So now we will see the diagram of each and we'll be trying to understand these organs. Now here we are again seeing the structure of the brain. So let us do a quick revision. We have done in the previous slide also what is the human brain, what is the weight of human brain and all. We'll just do a quick revision. It is 1.5 kg, that is 1200 to 1400 grams. We have approximately told that. Now it is inside the cranium, so skull or the cranium, and it is having three layers. We have already told that it is having three protective layers called the meninges. Now here we will see again the three parts, that is the cerebrum, the cerebellum and the medulla oblongata, right? So cerebrum is the largest part of the brain, as we have discussed earlier, having right and the left hemispheres, cerebral hemispheres, and they are having inner ridges and grooves they are having, which is increasing the surface area of the brain so that to accommodate a large number of neurons. So grooves and ridges are why they are ridges and grooves, because they are increasing the surface area. So they are increasing the surface area. Is it clear? And what they are doing, they are increasing the surface area and they are accommodating a large number of neurons. And they are accommodating a large number of neurons. A large number of neurons. So is it clear? So they are accommodating a large number of neurons. Now the human brain, the human cerebrum contains 9 billion of neurons. So these notes I'll be giving you at the end of this lesson. So it contains 9 billion neurons. So these all I've made the notes and I'll give you the notes also. So 9 billion neurons are there in this cerebrum, right? So cerebellum, it is the small part of the brain and it is located just under the cerebrum. It is maintaining the balance and coordination of the body. So generally what you have now, if you are standing, walking and all, if it arises in the cerebrum, muscles are involved in this process to contract and relax. So this is a control mechanism which is brought about by the cerebellum. So what happens when a person is alcoholic? So the cerebellum is getting affected when a person is alcoholic. That is why an alcoholic person is unable to coordinate his muscular movement. So this cerebellum is affected in alcoholic persons. It is affected in alcoholic persons. So when an alcoholic person, when you tell them to walk, stand and all, their muscular movements are not proper. So there is no coordination in the muscular movements. There is no coordination in the muscular movements of a alcoholic person. So there is no coordination in muscular movements of alcoholic person. Okay, so it is like that. So there is no coordination of alcoholic in an alcoholic person. There is no coordination of muscular movements. Now next comes this lowest part of the brain, which is the medulla. So what is it doing? It is functioning as controlling the internal organs. Okay, so this functions in detail we will be studying. So just you see the location. So medulla, it is controlling the internal functions like swallowing, beating of the heart, digestion, sneezing. So what will happen if this part is injured, or it is in case of injury of the medulla, immediate death of the person happens. Okay, so because all the important functions of the brain like digestion, breathing and all, they are affected. So if this gets affected, your breathing will not happen, your digestion, your heartbeat, all will stop working. So if there is an injury in this medulla part, a person will die immediately. So death happens immediately if there is an injury in this medulla region. So let us move on to the next part. Now here we are seeing the different parts of the brain with their functions. So these parts are a bit for higher classes, but for your general idea, you just keep an note on all the things which is happening in the brain. No need to learn everything what is not there in your portions. Just go through it. And you just increase your knowledge of the functions of different parts of the brain. So motor cortex is related to movement. Frontal lobe is related to judgment, foresight and voluntary movement. This Broca's area, this area is related to speech. The frontal lobe is related to here, it's related to this part. Frontal lobe is related to smell, and this frontal lobe is related to judgment, foresight and voluntary movements. Okay, and this temporal lobe, this is related to intellectual and emotional functions. This part, brain stem, that is we have told medulla is related to swallowing, breathing, heartbeat, wakefulness center and other involuntary functions. Here the sensory cortex, the motor cortex is related to movement, whereas the sensory cortex is related to pain, heat and other sensations. The parietal lobe is related to comprehension of language. So frontal lobe is related to judgment, foresight and voluntary movements, and parietal lobe is related to comprehension of language. Temporal lobe is related to hearing, and occipital lobe is related to primary visual area, and vernix area is related to speech comprehension, and cerebellum is related to coordination. So this we have told that it is related to coordination of muscles. So in case of the damage of cerebellum, what is happening? The muscle coordination will not have a will not be proper. So like while walking, while standing up, while doing any muscular movements, it will not have a coordination because the brain cerebellum part is affected. That is affected in case of the alcoholic person. So they can't walk properly or stand properly. Is it clear? So these are the different areas of the brain which are having different functions. So just go through it, and the main parts which you are having is the brain stem, that is the medulla, the cerebellum, and this whole is cerebrum. So you just have an idea that in each part of the cerebrum which all functions are being happening there. Okay, so is it clear? So just learn it, go through it, and go through your textbook ones which you are referring to. And if you are not getting it any point, just let me know in the comment box. I'll get back to you with the answers in the next video. Now here are notes of few things that you should know. So what you should know regarding this human brain. The human brain is regarded as the fastest organ of the body. So it is always regarded as the fastest organ of the body. About 60% of human brain, it comprises of fats. So fats are very important and essential for the brain functioning. So 60% of human brains comprises fats, and this is the highest concentration of fats that is present in single organ in a healthy human being. Furthermore, 75% of the total brain mass comprises of water, and it regulates various functions in the brain. Now next, cerebellum, it gets affected by alcohol, and this is why an alcoholic person is unable to coordinate his muscular movements properly. So this I have already told you, that cerebellum gets affected by alcohol, and this is why an alcoholic person is unable to coordinate his muscular movements properly, right? Now the human cerebrum, it consists of 9 billion of neurons. So these are the important facts and factors you should know. So if all of a sudden you get questions that how much percent of the brain comprises of fats, so 75% of the total brain comprises of water, which regulates various functions of the brains. Now the human cerebrum consists of 9 billion neurons. So these are the important facts. Please go through it and learn once. So here we can see in this flow diagram the full nervous system. That is, we can see that the nervous system comprises of the central nervous system and the peripheral nervous system. Now this peripheral nervous system is again divided into the autonomic nervous system and somatic nervous system. So autonomic nervous system consists of the sympathetic and the parasympathetic part, and this central nervous system consists of the brain. So brain we have already studied. We are going to study the spinal cord part in the next two slides. Okay, so this sympathetic and parasympathetic are parts of the autonomic nervous system. Okay, is it clear? Now we will be studying about the spinal cord. Now we are here with spinal cord. So what is spinal cord? It is the continuation of the medulla oblongata of the brain, and like a cord that emerges from a hole at the base of the skull and runs through the vertebral column. So it is from the base of the brain, from the in the continuation of medulla oblongata, the spinal cord is coming down from the base of the skull and runs through the vertebral column. Now the spinal cord is also protected by the meninges with the CSF in it. So what is CSF? I have already told you that it is having a cerebrospinal fluid, and it is protected by meninges, and inside the meninges only we are having this cerebrospinal fluid. Now what are the functions of nervous system? The main three functions of nervous system are: it is controlling the reflexes below the neck, and it is conducting messages from the skin and the muscles to the brain, whereas it is conducting commands from the brain to the muscles of the trunk and limbs. So it is also taking the messages or conducting the messages from the skin and the muscles to the brain, and it is conducting the commands from the brain to muscles of the trunk and the limbs. Is it clear? Now the spinal cord, there are different sections of spinal cord. It is out of your curriculum. Then also I'll just tell you, this is the cervical region, this part is the thoracic region, this L1 to L5 is the lumbar region, and this one is the sacral region. Okay, so these are the parts of the spinal cord. So this is the spinal cord full, and these small sections are called the vertebra or vertebrae. So this is how we are describing spinal cord in 7th standard. In higher standards, when we move on, we will go in bit details. So let us now complete this part with the next slide. Now here we are with the cross section of the spinal cord. So there are two similar halves fused together to form a small canal in the central, called the central canal. You can see that two equal parts are fusing together to form a central canal. Now cerebrospinal fluid is present, or CSF is present. The central canal is H-shaped. So we have told that it is surrounded by an H-shaped area called the grey matter. So this H-shaped area is called the grey matter, whereas it consists of only the cell bodies of neurons. So this grey matter is consisting of the cell bodies of the neuron, whereas the outer portion is the white matter, which consists of the nerve fibers. So this outer portion is the white matter, which consists of only the nerve fibers. Is it clear? Now what is the function of this? It conducts the reflexes below the neck and conducts sensory impulses from the skin and the muscles to the brain. I've already told you in the previous slide that what are the functions of the spinal cord. The same thing is a revision we are doing here. It conducts the motor responses from the brain to the muscles of the trunks and the limbs. So these are the functions of the spinal cord. This is the H region, which is called the grey matter. It is formed by the cell body, and this white region is formed of nerve fibers, which is called the white matter. And this is we can say that this is the central canal. So this is all for today's episode. Dear students, in the upcoming episode, I'll be discussing in details about the reflex action and all. So stay tuned, subscribe to my channel, share it with your friends as much as you can, so that they also can get to know this lesson in a systematic manner, and it's almost free of cost. So please go through it, and don't forget to share it with your friends who are also studying in 8th, 9th and 10th standard, as I am teaching for 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th biology as per ICSE curriculum. Thank you.